Hey y'all, it is me, Sonya, back again with another video, and I am super excited because we're in a series of doing some videos all about winning, how we can work through winning at practice, and we're going to be talking about winning practices in your life. This week's video is going to be about habit stacking. This is another key to practically winning every single moment, okay? So let's get into it. But before we do all that, let me introduce myself. Hey y'all, my name is Sonya of SonjaWCoaching, and we help overwhelmed, multi-passionate women learn how to make those dreams meet reality through living by purpose, executing by process, and winning by practice. We do all of this to make sure that you are living intentionally and seeing your dreams meet reality. Okay? So let's get into this next video all about habit stacking, another winning practice. Now, I was introduced to this whole idea of habit stacking in this book a while back called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he talked about a lot of cool things, but one thing that really intrigued me was this idea of habit stacking. Now, I know y'all are wondering, what in the world is habit stacking, okay? Habit stacking is actually taking advantage of an already established habit or routine and just adding a new behavior to it. Just adding one new behavior to it instead of trying to create a new wheel, create a whole new habit. Just adding one additional thing to a habit that you already do in your life. This way of working with life, it helps you because our brains sometimes are not able to continue to do new things all the time, okay? And it works on this advantage of already using what they call neural pathways in your brain. So how we learn is, I want to break it down in an easy way. How we learn best is by repeating pathways, repeating things in our lives, right? And you may wake up every morning and you do the same thing every single morning, right? Well, instead of totally changing cold turkey and no longer doing whatever that is, if you add just one behavior that you want to incorporate in your life, then this is a way that helps you move forward just a little bit faster, okay? Now, there's a couple of reasons why it's so important or why it's so good to just stack something else on an already established habit. Let me break down a couple of those reasons, or at least 3 of those reasons, okay? So, number 1, our brain is always looking for shortcuts. How we live in life, if you've ever noticed, kind of sit back and think about how you interact with the world. You're not trying to think through how to brush your teeth every morning, right? You don't think through how you walk from your bedroom to your bathroom every morning, right? You do it without even thinking. You do the small things every day without ever thinking. And that's because your brain is taking shortcuts. It's like, oh, I know this. Let's just go down this path. Well, in habit stacking, it takes advantage of the fact that your brain likes shortcuts because they're like, okay, this is my path, and you just add one little thing to it, and your brain is like, okay, we can incorporate that. I know. That's probably not how the dialogue happens in your brain, but that's how it happens to me. But really, our brains love shortcuts. So instead of changing everything all at once, just add a little something to it and see what happens. A second reason why it's so important, or habit stacking is so advantageous, is that your brain can't keep up with too many new things all at once. Again, your brain works best in shortcuts. Your brain, your body works best in knowing what to do. Have you ever driven and you were like, all right, you went to a new home. You just bought a new house and you're now driving home from work, and all of a sudden you show up at your old place and you don't even realize how you got there. That's because your brain is programmed to go a certain path, right? And it's so ingrained in us that it's hard to incorporate a ton of new things in our brains. There's something actually called decision fatigue. And that's kind of like a different phenomenon, but it's kind of the same thing where you can't make but so many decisions all in one day. So your brain is going to be like, okay, I do 1, 2, 3, 4 every single day. I'm going to continue to do 1, 2, 3, 4 unless something different happens. So habit stacking allows you to just add a little something different to it, just to make sure that you're making progress toward what you desire. And then the final thing that that is a reason why habit stacking is so advantageous is that your brain builds really strong pathways for our habits. I talked about that idea about your driving and all of a sudden you show up at your old house even though you got a whole new place, right? That is your brain working in its already ingrained pathway. Imagine just kind of like thinking about I don't know, thinking about, path in the forest. If you continue to walk down that same path over and over and over and over again, it begins to wear out. It begins to lose the grass and all that kind of stuff because you're digging a pathway that stays the same, right? That's how our brains work. And habit stacking takes advantage of that. So, this is the key to habit stacking, to just taking advantage of the fact that your brain already likes to work in habits and just throwing a little something extra in there. So how do you habit stack effectively? Well, let me give you a couple of pointers. Number one, find a habit that you like already, that you are already enjoying in your life. Perhaps you like your morning routine and you want to kind of increase, water intake. Well, go ahead and don't change much in your routine and just add maybe a glass of water. You put a glass of water by your bed, and when you wake up, you drink that water and then you go on about your way. I actually did that pretty effectively in my own life. One thing that I wanted to do was increase my water intake, and I have to take medicine every morning. So what I did was that instead of just taking a sip of water to get the medicine down, I actually have like a 20-ounce container where I fill with water, and every morning I drink most of it. And this is kind of like kickstarting that desire to drink more water, right? Another thing that I've done to kind of change up my routine, one thing that I realized as I'm working out more is that I have to stretch or my body's gonna be like, girl, what you doing? So what I started to do was to just add my stretch routine right in between some of my evening routine. So my evening routine used to consist of me writing something in my thankfulness journal, and then praying a little bit, and then brushing my teeth, washing my face, and going to bed. So what I did was that I stuck my stretching routine in between there. So what I do now is I do my thankfulness, I stretch, and then I go brush my teeth. Now sometimes I switch it up. I may stretch before I do my thankfulness exercise. There we go. But for the most part, that's kind of how I've done it. And now I feel funny if I go into the bed without actually stretching. So it's so important that you just go ahead and just add a couple of little things to your life. Examine your life and figure out how you can plug in those new good ideas that you want to see happen, and see how it works for you. Okay? So that's habit stacking in a nutshell. I hope that this helps you out. If you want some help in figuring out the best way to put this in your life, go holler at me. Links below, okay, for a free discovery call. All right? So, hope this was helpful for you. I hope you have an awesome day wherever you are.